Rarely have I had a chance to use something so much before a video review, but this jacket I've had for nearly a year now. This is the Mountain Equipment Oreus Jacket. So it's been great to have this for so long. I've really put it through its paces through winter climbing in Wales and in Scotland. I've used it bouldering actually here in the winter when it was really much colder than this. I've even shoved it in my race vest while going out running because it packs down so small, and it is a very warm all-round synthetic jacket. So a lot of brands are known for their down jackets. Now, if I'm honest, I think Mountain Equipment are nearly more famous for their synthetic jackets. They make amazing legendary jackets such as the Citadel and the Fitzroy, and they are real sort of tanks to live in, and you feel like you're really protected in winter in those things. The only downside I would have with those jackets are the packability and the size, so they're a bit heavy and a bit clunky. The Oreus answers all those questions. So if you didn't already know, Mountain Equipment are the climbers brand. Everyone who climbs loves Mountain Equipment because they're so dedicated to making the right stuff for their climbers, athletes and customers to be used on the hills. So as we've mentioned many times before, down is brilliant at insulating you. It packs small, it lofts up well and gives us a lot of warmth to weight ratio that's really hard to mimic with a synthetic. But synthetic jackets, so man-made fibres, are much better at coping with that dampness. Now, Scottish winter climbing, the Peak District, the UK in general, pretty damp a lot of the time. It doesn't have to be raining, but like snow and drizzle and humidity can really collapse those feathers and they lose their warmth. So we try to stick to synthetic fibres. So normally the downside with a synthetic fibre is, to get it as warm as a down jacket is, it becomes bulkier and heavier. With this jacket, they've gone through some amazing testing and amazing new innovation to get the warmth to weight ratio as good as they can. So let's get to the nitty gritty. This is built as a belay jacket. Now, what's one of the most impressive things about it is its weight. A medium comes in under 400 grams. That's 397 grams, I think. That is really light. Fitzroy and Citadel, they're considerably more than that. I can't remember quite what, but a lot more. And although they're warm and durable, this is a lot lighter, and I'm convinced it's nearly as warm as the Fitzroy. So how have they achieved that? Basically, they brought out amazing new innovative insulation that they created themselves. They looked around the world to try and see what others were doing, and nothing was cutting the mustard, so they made their own. Well done, ME. They've named this insulation Atherm. Now, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, I've just read it. But basically, it is these amazing thin synthetic fibres, but cut into long strips like ribbons. Now, intersecting with that, like a lattice, is a really thin reflective metallic film. If you cross that back and forth, the film helps the synthetic fibres keep their loft at all times, and also adding to that is the reflective heat you get from these sort of metallic fibres within the strip latticed into it. Bit of a mouthful, sorry. But basically that means it reflects your heat, packs really small, and a huge amount of loft you get for that warmth. One of the major benefits, I think, of this new system, the Atherm, is that it can be put in sort of a sheet fibre style insulation. So some of the others have been ripped up and blown in, so really loose little fibres. That means you've got to have baffles. Baffles are great for compressibility and everything like that, but the downside is that means your jacket's essentially full of holes. So you get these little cold patches, and sometimes you can feel the wind get in and some of your hot air get out. When you've got sort of a sheet fibre like this, there are no gaps. As you can see, there's no stitching, got no holes in this, completely windproof. Feels much more weatherproof, sort of, I'm not saying waterproof, but much more weather resistant than a normal jacket was stitched through construction. So that's why I think this makes it an out and out belay jacket. When you're on a snowy, windy, cold, horrible ledge in the middle of winter in Scotland, you want to keep all the elements out. Chuck this baby on, nothing gets through to you, put the hood up, you feel really secure and really warm with such minimal weight shoved in your bag as well. Amazing. Another way they've made it so light is they've got a 10 denier plasma face fabric, so that's really, really light. Obviously, things like the Fitzroy and the Citadel with their burlier face fabrics are going to be more durable. If you do end up climbing in them, they're going to stand up to it better than this could. So I would say this is for belaying. If you end up climbing in it, just be careful, basically. Both the insulation and the face fabric are recycled. Just worth noting, I'm 6'4" and I'm in an extra large in this jacket. Often I'll be a large, but this seems to go better over my winter setup, being an extra large. I wouldn't say it's bursting with features, this jacket, which is great. That's what keeps the weight down, but it's got everything you'd expect. Obviously, two cozy hand warmer pockets, the nice Napoleon pocket for keeping things in, and a really good helmet hood that will swallow a helmet, no problem. When you're not wearing a helmet, you have got the bungee cords to pull it in nice and tight and a Velcro tab at the back so you can cinch it nicely onto your head. It's got the obvious two-way zip, so if you are belaying, you can get in there and have the freedom of movement. Another feature I absolutely love is internally there's a dump pocket for putting gloves in. In winter when I was climbing here, I put my shoes in it so they could warm up before I put them on. But that is also where you can store your jacket, so you can fold it inside out, shove it in there, but there's no zips to get snagged either. There's just a little clip on there. So I think that's great, because I don't like it when the zips get snagged on your jackets, trying to shove in that little void. I really like that feature. And I know I mention this with every ME jacket, but I'll never get bored of it. It's such a good feature, is the fact that the hem draw cords here get cut and resealed so that you can't snag carabiners or someone like once got their crampon caught in it. There's no little loops here. That shows it's a proper climbing brand. The cuffs are really simple, they're just elasticated, but they do stretch really well, so you can actually shove your bigger gloves straight through there as well, and really cozy all the way down and overlapping. One thing I would add is that because of the insulation that does keep lofting back so well, I don't think it compresses as well as some of the baffled style insulations. However, if you're not trying to get in a little bag and just trying to shove it in the bottom of your rucksack, it does fill the void nicely and it will loft up better than those other ones we've talked about. I'd like to stress again that I really think this is designed as a belay jacket. I see a lot of people getting synthetic jackets and using them as mid layers or for actually walking in. If you work hard in this, put it under a shell, something like that, it's not very breathable. It's not meant to be. It's trapping hot air in, which inevitably our hot air is sweat and that will trap it in there. Now, in winter, we want to trap all our hot air in. If you get too hot in this, quite simply take it off, let your hot air escape. This is trying to do the best it can at keeping you warm, and it does it brilliantly. The testing Mount Equipment did with this has also been brilliant. So yeah, of course, I've had one for quite a while, but not that important in terms of the scale of the testing, whereas all other athletes have had them for a long time as well, and they've been to the top of some pretty big cold mountains and some cold gnarly environments, and they've all been blown away and really happy with it, and just so pleased that this is now in their arsenal of jackets to use. So if you hadn't already guessed, I like this jacket. I've used it a lot, I'm going to continue using it a lot, and it does exactly what I want. Warmth, packs small, comfortable to wear, and keeps the weather out really nicely.